Welcome to Punky's World. I was laying in my bed thinking about making this video. I keep going back and forth on my mother's passing, on guilt over it. I keep questioning myself, did I do the right thing? I know what she told me when she was in her normal state of mind, and I know what she said when she wasn't. When she was laying in the hospital the day before she died. I understand all that, and I just can't reconcile it. Let me explain. The day before she died, she desperately wanted water, and they wouldn't give it to her. But if she took comfort care, they would give it to her because it wouldn't matter. I personally think that was cruel. But she did take the comfort care. And they had asked her, well, she had evidently said to one of the doctors that she didn't want dialysis anymore. And they asked her in front of me, and she shook her head. No dialysis. Do you want to go back on the vent? No. I don't know how much she understood at that point, because she at that point had what's called an anoxic brain injury, which means that anoxic, less lack of oxygen. An means anti, without. So a brain injury caused by the lack of oxygen. So I'm not sure how much she understood. I was kind of put in a position where that I didn't want to be in. And she was telling them no when they were talking to me, and I was crying. So they took me out of the room because it was upsetting her. Well, it was upsetting her because I don't think she wanted to she wanted to die, even though she was saying those things. And I think I keep going back and forth. Should I have insisted they put her back on the bed and continue with the dialysis? Would that have been the best for her? No, probably not in the long run, because she was never going to be herself again. Not that matters, but and her kidneys weren't going to recover. She was too advanced in her lung disease to have a kidney transplant. She'd need lungs way before that. I don't understand why they never. Well, yeah, I do. She was a smoker. They weren't going to give her lungs. She was a smoker in her late 60s. Her getting lungs would be, she had both of those things against her. But I go back and forth about feeling like I should have done something different, if that makes sense. Like I didn't fight hard enough for her, if that makes sense. I didn't advocate enough. you know. And it didn't help that we were in the middle of a pandemic. And I could barely see her because we had an uptick in the pandemic. What confused me was, why did they move her out of the ICU when she clearly needed ICU level care? I saw her the day she died, and which was the next day after all this, and she was all of her energy was breathing. And her kidneys were non-functioning, and I was there with her now. And I just remember crying because she was like combative. I don't know how else to explain it. And hitting and pushing me away, and that made me wonder, have I done something wrong? Is she really mad at me? And they said, no, this is dying. And I'm like, that's not how my father died. My father was very peaceful. He was in a coma, basically. He stopped controlling his body temperature the day that he died, so we knew it was very close because he had like a cold rag across his neck and a cold rag across his head because they were trying to keep his body temperature stable because he couldn't control it anymore. And so we knew. But we did everything we could for him, and I wonder, did I do everything I could for him? And I had a lot of guilt about Dad's death too, about signing the DNR, but I know in my heart, first of all, Dad died exactly the way he wanted to, basically in his sleep of a heart attack. So I know that's what he wanted. He had expressed that in life. But I also know he would not have wanted to be pounded on at 80 pounds or whatever it was that he weighed at the end of his life to give him a few more days, but with agony from broken ribs, he just wouldn't have wanted that. And I don't think anybody wants to be to have like 3 more days of life to be in agony because they broke your ribs, to give you that 3 more days, Just pulling that number out, excuse me. I'm sorry, guys. I had to answer that call. Oops. That's my blankie. Actually, this blanket is the blanket that my mother had when she died. The volunteers at the hospital in that department made this blanket, and they crocheted it. And they asked me if I wanted to take it home. Hey, come on. And I said, yeah. Glad I went back that night. And I remember seeing her after she had passed. And her color was so weird, you know, it was just weird. And the whole idea of seeing her after was, it was unsettling. Like I said, I had seen her earlier in the day. I had gone with Carrie now, and like I said, she was, to me, she was suffering. She was combative. She was just angry. And I just hate to think that she went to heaven angry at me. You know? My eyes are driving me crazy. And they said, that's dying. You know, and I said, I know how my father died, and that's not what it looked like, you know? They told me she wouldn't suffer. You're not even helping her breathe. And I gave her some more medication, some more pain medication, because that's all they do. I didn't understand it. You know, I wasn't exactly clear on what comfort care meant. I thought she was going to get the same care that my father got at the end of his life. When we did the DNR, we were very specific. We want him to have his medications. We want him to have his respirator, you know, through his trach, and all of that. The only thing we didn't want was compressions and paddles. That's all we did not want. And I thought Mom would get the same treatment. Everything but if she went into cardiac arrest, saving her life. But apparently that's not what happened. Comfort care, in case you didn't know, literally means they put you in a room and they pump you up with pain meds and just let you die, which and I thought that, and I did say this to them when I was crying, I said, I thought that at least you'd put oxygen on her. At least her nasal cannulas. That's comfort for her. You know, because it would have helped her a little bit, you know. It wouldn't have kept her alive, but it would have helped her be more comfortable. Because ultimately her kidneys failed her. I just... So they did. They gave her some more medicine. She calmed down, and I remember she was holding on to this blanket. Like this. Like this. And holding it up like this. And so when they asked me, yeah, it was the last thing that gave her comfort in this world. But also because my mother used to make these. It's a crocheted Afghan. And like I said, it was the last thing she held in this world. And it was the last thing she held with me, but and like I said, It was later that evening. I got a call from the doctor um, that worked on that floor. And he was very kind. He was compassionate, sweet. You know, well, sweet's the wrong word, but he was kind and compassionate. And he said, "I'm sorry to have to tell you this, but your mother passed away at 6:17. He said the nurse was with her and saw her take her last breath. Well, at least somebody was with her, you know? That was comforting to me. And and she'd be thrilled because the death certificate just says kidney failure. And I was like, wait a minute, or renal failure. And I was like, wait a minute, there was more to it than that. She had renal failure, she was septic, she had end-stage COPD. I mean, there's a little more to it than just renal failure, you know? But the doctor that signed it didn't know the patient, which sucks, but what can you do? And but at least the actual main cause of death was on there, so that's all that matters. I did go and try to get him to fix it, but that never happened, and that's okay. It's funny, I tried to get my mother's records, and there was a specific time period that I wanted records for. Some stuff that I was too young to understand. Didn't get any of it. Don't know why. I have my records from way back then. Way back earlier than that. But didn't get hers from that time period. And it was like, I am going to go back through and see what I missed. You know what I mean? To see if some of those records are there. But I haven't been able to find them in the pile they sent me. And they sent them to me on a computer. I just feel like I question myself. Did I do the right thing? You know, should I have fought harder? And said no. You know, care for her. Put her back on the bed if you have to. You know. But then I go back to, would that have been fair to her? Then I feel guilty also because now I have this life, you know, this full life that I wouldn't have had. So I feel guilty because sometimes I wonder if, when she said those things, if she was giving up to give me a life. Was she dying so I could live? If that makes sense. It really makes me wonder, you know? And does anybody else go through this when they have to make those decisions? I don't want anyone to go through this, making those decisions for me. I don't want anybody to have to make those decisions, if that makes sense. I want to live to be like 100 years old, but I don't want anyone to have to like I said, to make the decisions. I know how difficult it's been for me with both of my parents and how I have felt. You know? Ever since. And for Mom, it's only been a year and a half. For Dad, it's been 6 years. That's crazy. Yeah, it was 6 years in April. And I only had Mom 4 years after that. And I know that her quality of life the last 2 years was terrible. The pain that she was in her bones, in her body, her lungs, I know they hurt. That in a way it must have been a relief for her to get her wings. But man, I can't help but feel it. The guilt. I'm going to take my meds while we talk. I just I think we all second guess ourselves, but it's terrible. It's one thing to second guess yourself on the answer to a question. It's another thing entirely to second guess yourself on someone's life. Because then you have the horrible feeling of, did I unwittingly kill my parents? You know what I mean? Like I said, with Dad, I'm starting to understand that he would have died anyway, even if I hadn't signed that paper. Mom, I never signed anything. And they told me I didn't have to, which is why they asked her in front of me, because if she made the decision, nothing had to be signed. She wasn't legally capable of signing anything, so technically I should have had to sign something. Because I told him, I said, I'm not signing anything. I'm not doing it. I did it with my dad, and I'm not doing it. And that's why they asked her. And that is some of my guilt, you know? And I just literally needed to get it off my chest. I was feeling it in the middle of my chest this morning. And I said, well, I can get it off my chest by talking to my viewers. I'm going to share this video with some friends and family. In a way, it feels better to get it off my chest. So, thank you for joining me. I made it through without crying, which, yeah. I need to turn on the light. There. God bless you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. I will see you later for the update of the meeting. But now I am going to watch some videos and I don't know. And then I'll walk down to the meeting. And like I said, I'll let you know. God bless you. Stay safe. Please subscribe to both channels. Link to Kid Missing is in the description, as always, as is my fetch code. That will get you extra points on your first. If you use my code, you'll get extra points on your first receipt, and I will get extra points when you click your first receipt. So, thank you. And again, not sponsored, it's something everyone gets. Bye, guys. Thank you so much for listening. Love you.